Honor Club, where honor is real.
Truth be told, Ring of Honor was the first company that paid me equal to a man.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first company. They paid me the same as my husband, and I have always appreciated that. Because in WWE, I was paid 1/4 as I was paid this last contract, and I was paid 1/10 of what the guys were paid at WrestleMania. So, like, I appreciated Ring of Honor so much for. Okay, have you taken over the interview?
He's ready. He wants to. He's mad about her getting fired.
He's cutting a promo. So, Top Prospect Tournament 2011. Talk about an all-star field, right? We've got Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Michael Elgin, Jonathan Gresham. Oh, and by the way, Mike Bennett, who goes on to beat Adam Cole in the first round, Andy Ridge in the semifinals, and Kyle O'Reilly in the finals to become the first Top Prospect Tournament winner. What are your memories of that time, Mike?
Just that was such a fun time in my wrestling career. And, like, it's so funny to think about now because, and I'm sure we all do this, and I'm sure you do this because it's human nature, but we never realize the good times we're in, like, while we're actually in them. And I look back at that time, and not only was it, like, fun to be part of Ring of Honor, but I was going on this journey with, like, guys that are legitimately my friends, like Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. And obviously he wasn't in this, but Tommaso Ciampa and Matt Taven, like, all that time at Ring of Honor, I was with my friends and guys that, like, I consider like brothers. So I look back on it so fondly. Ring of Honor was so good to me at that time. And it was like Jim Cornette was in charge, and I know Jim Cornette is a touchy subject with a lot of people. Jim Cornette was always really good to me. So I'll never say a bad thing. Everyone has their opinions on him. He always treated me very kindly. So as far as he treats me, that's fine. I don't agree with a lot of his viewpoints, but he treated me good when I was there. Delirious treated me so good when he took over as head booker. And then Adam Pearce was on his way out. But Joe Koff treated me so, like, there was just a collection of people that I just hold in such high regards, because not only did they treat me nice as a wrestler, but they treated me nice as a human. And as I get older in life, that means more to me than anything else in wrestling. Like, wrestling is such a small blip on the radar compared to life. And then I look back at these people and how they treated me as a human being means so much more to me. And, like, at the time, I didn't think the times were that great because the Ring of Honor crowd didn't accept me at all. They hated me. They thought I was a waste of time. They didn't understand why I was getting a push. They didn't understand why Ring of Honor hired me. And at that time, I was like, oh, how dare they, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. But as I grew in Ring of Honor, I learned to understand why. And it was because I was an outsider. And Ring of Honor was such a niche fan base and such a niche company that they didn't want this outsider coming in and taking over. And as I got older, I actually kind of respected that. When I was younger, I was like, well, they don't know. I'm too good for them, or they don't understand good wrestling, or blah,
Right.
blah, blah. But now as I look back, I respect it. Some of these fan bases that are diehard, like New Japan, like, I love it. They're so set in their ways because they like good wrestling. And then having done bad wrestling for 3 years, I respect the fact that they love good wrestling. And so I look back at that so fondly just because it was such a huge learning experience for me.
Let me ask you a quick side question here, because I know, Maria, you made your Ring of Honor debut at Final Battle 2011. You joined forces with Mike, who at the time was your real-life boyfriend. So just a little sidetrack question. How did you guys meet? Because you weren't in the same company at that point.
It was actually at a Northeast Wrestling show that we met. It was the first show that I had came back and done after my run in WWE. Because after my first run, I said, I'm not doing this again. And then about a year later, I started doing shows again. And I met him, and he was wearing a Ring of Honor hat. And So I was asking him about Ring of Honor, and he was eating really old pizza, which looked disgusting.
I'm sure it was from earlier in the day. It wasn't like 2 days old.
It looked ancient. And
good.
then, as wrestlers do, we all went out to eat afterwards, with the whole crew. And he sat across from me, and he was eating his cheese sticks with a fork and a knife. And I just thought that was idiotic. So I asked him who eats with a fork and a knife.
In my defense, I was like, I couldn't believe
you
that.
were trying to be fancy?
Yeah. So not only, well, first of all, we were both seeing each other at the time.
We're seeing other people.
Sorry, we were seeing other people. We both, I had a girlfriend and she had a boyfriend at the time when we first met. But you could always feel there was like a little chemistry there. And I hated my girlfriend at the time. She was not a very nice person. But I could feel there was like a little chemistry. And so she sat across from me at the table, and I ordered mozzarella sticks, and I was like, I can't eat these with my hands. She's going to think I'm a slob. Right. So I started eating them with a knife and fork. And then, of course, she's like, are you eating cheese sticks with a knife and fork? And I was like, yes.
Well, it's a no-win situation because you take a bite and you got the stringy cheese then coming out.
Exactly.
You can't impress a woman that way.
No, and not a woman of her caliber. I was like, no woman that looks like that has ever been interested in me remotely in my entire life. So I got to do everything I can. And I thought I blew it with the cheese sticks.
And so we were both dating other people, so nothing happened. Finally, he must have seen that I had posted about being single or something. He sent me a direct message on Twitter because we are very up-to-date, modern couple.
That's right.
And so he sent me a direct message on Twitter, and that's when it all began. We talked for a month on the phone before we ever saw each other. At our first date, he actually drove 9 hours to see me at a signing.
It's true.
He was very...
I drove from Boston to Philadelphia, and seeing as you worked in Stamford, you know that drive's probably only like 5 hours.
Yeah.
It took me 9 hours because of Friday night traffic.
Oh,
brutal. Yeah. But I was ready. I was like, she wants a date? Hell yeah.
Well, that's an awesome story. So let's talk more about, obviously, your Ring of Honor run. You guys eventually formed the Kingdom with Adam Cole and Matt Hardy. And, of course, later, Mike, your best friend, Matt Taven, joins the group. And throughout 2014, 2015, you guys had an awesome run. You and Taven win the ROH World Tag Team Championship. You go to Japan. You win the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championship. Maria, you also wrestled in a handful of matches. Got a package.
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see it. I only do it if it's absolutely necessary.
Right.
And when I do, it's with like someone dragging me, kicking and screaming.
Well, I was going to say one memorable spot wasn't actually a match, but you got a package pub.
Oh, yes.
Evan
And
Steen.
see, that is why I don't wrestle, because I always end up in situations like that, a package pile driver, a triple super kick. It doesn't end well for me ever. Oh, and then Mike super kicked me in one of the few matches that I had on a pay-per-view for Ring of Honor. Hard too. Very, very hard. And I don't know if I should, I'm going to say it anyways.
Do it.
So I knew he was going to super kick me. But what had we done where you had kind of whiffed it or something?
Same spot on an indie show.
On an
I
indie show.
Missed you with the super
He
kick.
missed me. So we were like, all right, and we hadn't talked about it. We were like, okay, well, and then we'll do the super kick.
I was like, oh, I'm not going to miss you again.
And then he's like, I'm not going to miss you, blah, blah, blah. And so me going, he's definitely not going to miss you. I stepped into it, and he came with it extra hard. Oh my gosh, that was the hardest super kick I've taken in my entire freaking life. It was brutal.
I rocked her.
So, Maria, do you have like a favorite moment from, or any favorite moments from your ROH run?
Oh, I have so many. But I will have to say that the Briscoes made my second part of my career when they let me stand over them and cut a promo. And at the time, people forget this. At the time, not a lot of women were able to be strong characters against men. Yes, there were strong female characters, but it was always in the context of the divas or just the women, or it was never standing up to a man.
No, you were an anomaly at that point.
And so to be able to do that, the Briscoes really made my career, or the second half of my career. That was the moment that I knew it could work, because it was the Briscoe brothers, the toughest badass men in the industry. No offense, babe, but like, these guys, they allowed me to be in that position, and they made my career. Yeah. And then they stood up at our wedding. So
I think they were huge parts of making the Kingdom. Some of the matches we had, whether it was me and Matt Hardy against them in Nashville in that no DQ match, or my favorite match of all time is me and Taven in the 2 out of 3 falls in Atlanta. That match is just like, I get goosebumps still thinking about it, because like, there was something, and I always say this to Maria, there was something about working with Mark and Jay that I knew they were going to hit me hard, and they knew I was going to hit them just as hard, and it fired us up like you wouldn't believe. And there's some guys in this business that you just get in the ring with and you go, we're just going to beat the crap out of each other. Then we're going to come to the back and we're going to hug it out. Me and Taven and the Briscoes, that's how it was. We were like, we're going to hurt each other, and it's going to be awesome.